Hi, everyone. This is Shirley Joy Weiss again, and I'm just like bursting at the seams right now with excitement because I just am so excited about the message I'm going to bring to you tonight. I'm literally having to contain myself from like popping out of my chair because that's how big and important this tip that you're going to get in this second bonus video is. And for those of you just tuning in for the first time, this is the second bonus video that is being brought out to all of you amazing people who signed up for my Amplify Your Impact Masterclass. For those of you who are finally ready to learn how to discover from a really deep soul-centered perspective how to birth that transformational course that's in you and launch it and deliver it in a way that's successful, joyful, spirit-led, and leaves lasting change in your students, right? So because you're saying yes in such a big way, I wanted to give back to you immediately, even before we get to the actual masterclass. It's going to tell you all my five, super fundamental keys in order to do and accomplish that kind of a launch. I'm just so grateful and in awe of all of you, and because you're so needed, that I want to just give you as much as I can give you to really help you on your mission to be a change agent, to rise right now in this time that we so need you to rise. Right now more than ever, we cannot play the powerless card and just let the government and the powers that be the ones calling the shots, because we see the results of that. And part of why so much is so chaotic right now and falling away is because it is a call for people like you and me that are holding a higher wisdom, a higher vibration based in love, of course, to come on through and be the voices out there, be the voice of our generation, and spread truth. So enough about that. We know that. I know you get that. I don't have to soapbox about that tonight. So I want to just dive right into this tip because it's so fundamental, so profound, so life-changing. And so today's tip is going to, of course, on a more superficial level, address those of you who are aspiring teachers or are already coaches or healers or even any kind of transformational entrepreneur. And you tend to have this saying that goes in your head, or you've actually may have even said this out loud a few times, where like, oh, I really love what I do. I love my coaching. I love my healing, but I just hate to market myself. I hate to put myself out there. I hate to network. I hate to outreach. So if you've ever fallen for that trap, and it's a trap, my dear, a trap that, of course, doesn't help you get anywhere with your work and your message, but if you've ever fallen for that trap, then this video is for you. And it's going to give you a most delicious, beautiful, unexpected twist on how to view this whole thing so you can finally break through and no longer resist marketing, no longer resist putting yourself out there. You see me putting myself out there right now. I used to cringe at the thought. I used to have such a negative relationship with marketing. It's manipulative, or I'm too introverted, or whatever my story was. And so of course I got nowhere, and I played really small, and I only, influenced and impact a handful of people when I could have been doing so much more as I'm doing now. And here's the thing, I want to bring you this tip not only because it's going to help you get out there with your message, but because it's so fundamentally transformational, what I'm going to tell you today, on a personal level. What do I mean by that? You see, to some of you, it might sound, what I'm going to tell you tonight, that I'm kind of bringing you some tough love, telling you to become mature, spiritually mature, roll up your sleeves, and become the spiritual adults that you're here to be, and rise to whatever task you need to rise to do. But that's actually not what I'm saying here tonight. Some of you are going to hear that, but that's actually fundamentally not what I'm saying tonight, because from a higher perspective, from a more elevated, aligned, conscious perspective, you're going to realize that what I'm bringing you tonight, yeah, it is spiritual maturity, but the kind of spiritual maturity that isn't about rolling up your sleeves, all right, let's go, but about the kind of spiritual maturity where you're a master. So what I'm offering tonight has a lot to do with liberation. Many of you in my audience know that I created a coaching method called the Soul Freedom Coaching Method. And I train a lot of people on this Soul Freedom Coaching Method. And as the name, denotes, it's about freedom. And this tip tonight is about freedom. The freedom that comes when you are no longer limited by preferences and needing things to be a certain way to be happy. Because that's circumstantial happiness, and that's not constant happiness. That's not true happiness. Because have you ever noticed that you reach a circumstance that makes you happy? Like you get a life partner, or you finally get your business running, or you get the house of your dreams. But as soon as that circumstance shifts, you're not happy anymore? So as soon as that partner leaves, you guys have a falling out, you're not going to be happy anymore? That makes you dependent on the outside world and not the master of life and experience that you actually are. And that's what tonight's tip is about. That's why I'm like bursting at the seams. Okay, so enough of an introduction. Let's dive in. And so what is this trap really about? What's causing you to fall into this trap? And how can we get you out of it? So you can be masterful in life and move forward, not just like rolling up your sleeves in your marketing, okay, I guess I have to do this, but actually from a place of joy and willingness and peace and curiosity. Right? That's a master, right? So we have to back up for a minute and really kind of dissect for a second this whole notion that this is what I like and this is what I don't like. This is what I'm good at and this isn't what I'm not good at. And I'm going to actually back up all the way to childhood. And I want to use babies and toddlers and little kids as an example. And I can speak to this very directly because many of you know that I actually ran a holistic parenting and education center for many years. So I've had a lot of direct, clinical, you could say, interaction with kids. And the truth of the matter is that kids don't have preferences. Babies have no preferences. Babies, toddlers, and kids, young kids especially, right? 5, 6-year-olds, they're still in such a state of purity. In other words, their true self is in the foreground, who we already are. A true self that hasn't gone anywhere, by the way. They're just clouded over. But we're going to get into that in a second. But their true self is still running the show. It's up in the foreground, and they're interacting directly with life. Meaning they have no preferences that they have developed. They have no stories of limitation that they've developed. They have no stories that say, I'm good at math, but not good at art, or vice versa. No, I'm really creative, but not good at logic stuff. See, one of the reasons why our school was on a waiting list when we had these, it was a school for just 0 to 6-year-olds, and we had them on a waiting list because we were creating such amazing things with these kids where not only were we igniting them on an academic, mental brilliance level, but balancing them emotionally and just making them really open, confident, happy kids, right? How are we able to do this? Because we realized that there was no such thing as you're shy, you're outgoing, you're good at math, you're good at the creative stuff. It's all about the story that gets developed in your mind and how you get exposed to new experiences. And so what happens as we grow up, we get exposed to experiences in a way that doesn't facilitate, let's just say, a good experience, right? And you have every capacity to be good at math, but if for whatever reason your first touch with math was a frustrating one, you start to develop a story with math. Oh, I'm not good at that. We proved with our kids time and time again that there was no such thing. All our kids were excellent across the board. We were helping them actualize on every level. There's no such thing. Your soul is capable of everything. But it's not only that. The kids didn't have all these preferences either about what's fun or what's not, since their true self, and not just in our school, this is kids in general, toddlers in general, since their true self is in the foreground, their true self is the source of happiness. Their true self is happiness. So what happens? They don't look to circumstances to make them happy, right? They don't look for only their preferences and the things they like to do to be happy. No such thing. They just show up with whatever's there in the moment, and they're curious and excited, and they're just there. No thought in their head. What's this? They've been in an elevator 30 times, 100 times, 300 times, and yet still every day, directly interacting with the elevator. What am I going to discover here today? Meanwhile, as adults, this is just like wasted time, but I just have to stand here. Rather than being curious, open, directly interacting. No, we have a whole bunch of layers of thinking clouding us for the playground that very well could be an elevator, right? To kids, they don't wait to the playground to be happy and have fun. They are the source of fun. They are the source of happiness. They are the source of adventure. So they have adventure everywhere. In a doctor's office, waiting 45 minutes to be seen, where you and me are like annoyed, tapping our fingers. Elevator, simple little room with one stick and one ball. That's who we truly are. There's no such things as preferences. Preferences denote that something makes me happy and some things don't. Preferences denote that I'm good at something and something not. But those are all stories, my dear. They're not who you are. So my invitation with tonight's video is to take a step back and give yourself the liberation, the freedom that comes from this elevated perspective of who you truly are and the truth of preferences. You see, if you've hated marketing, if you've resisted marketing, if you've resisted networking, if you've resisted putting yourself out there in any way, you're only holding a story in your head that you just developed over time about you, your capacities, what is fun, what is not, what is real service, what isn't. I find my marketing sometimes more of a service than the actual work I get paid for, because I get to reach so many people with a deeply impacting message. That's how I choose to relate to marketing. How do you choose to relate to marketing? How do you choose to relate to networking? And here's one last really important tip about this. I'm not even asking you to come up with positive statements about marketing. All I'm asking you to do is let go. Let go of the old ones that say, no, marketing's icky, marketing's scary, I'm too introverted, I'm too shy, I don't know how. So that just like a child, the child doesn't even have a positive preconception about an elevator. A child doesn't have a positive preconception about anything. They're just curious, directly interacting with the moment. Being a creative response to the moment from our true highest, most activated, happy already self. That's what I'm asking you to do. Just be curious. Well, if all these stories that I've held about, marketing and putting myself out there and building a business and launching a program and creating a group course and developing a curriculum are just stories, what else could be true? Might you just allow yourself to just step into the journey and discover it without any pre-qualifications, without any preconceptions, and allow the journey to reveal itself to you? You're having a call deep in your heart that's telling you to move forward in this. Why do you think that call is in there constantly nudging you? To throw you down some horrific path? No. Trust the call and do yourself the favor. Free yourself from the only thing that makes any of it angst-filled, insecure, frustrating, difficult. Now, this is absolutely part of the work that I do with people, helping them learn to liberate themselves this way as well. I had to liberate myself. Let me tell you, I'm showing up here, all in your face and excited and confident and strong and clear and with a mission. But I wasn't always this way. I used to cringe emotionally and mentally at the thought of marketing myself. And I also literally used to shake at the knees, I remember being on stage at the beginning of my coaching career a few years ago, like 15 years ago, and knees were shaking And it was so like traumatic for me. I was like, I didn't get on a stage again for years. When did I finally get on a stage again? When I realized, wait a second, that's what's creating my angst. Let me get curious about how I can have a new experience. And I developed a way of having a new experience. But you can't develop a way of having a new experience while you're still carrying these stories, these very spiritually immature stories that say, I like this, I don't like that. I'm really here to just heal. I don't have to put myself out there. Why do I have to do this work? That's not spiritual, whatever the story is. Name me one spiritual teacher on the world stage right now who isn't constantly putting themselves out there. And many of them in a very direct marketing level, right? This is the dawn of the times. This is the ages we're in. We have to spread our messages this way. And if you really understand what I'm telling you tonight, you're going to see how you eventually are going to have a totally new experience with marketing. And then you'll see what I always say to my students and my clients. The course that's going to impact you the most is the one you create yourself. Because that's also why life is putting you on this path to create this course, because life is so excited for you to discover how masterful you are, how creative you are, how supported you are, and how miraculous and amazing this journey can be. So that's my second tip of the day. No such thing as all these negative stuff about marketing, and especially when you put yourself out there in a way that's super aligned with your soul and doesn't use tactics, scare tactics or anything, but really just connects heart to heart with someone. Hey, let's have a conversation about this. I'm here for you. You know, very direct, very transparent, very soft, very in the heart, very real. This is what you can learn to do too. And then it becomes amazing and joyful. All right, so that's all for tonight. If some of you haven't signed up yet, it's a completely free masterclass, and I'm going to reveal to you my 5 most fundamental keys that I discovered along my own journey, and then also helping a lot of other change makers rise to this occasion, that it takes to really, really successfully discover and craft, launch, and also deliver a course that makes a significant impact. And just to give you a really quick brief, I discovered this because I was seeing so many people buy really expensive, really high ticket business coaching programs so that they can get all the strategy on how to get out there, and yet they didn't get out there still. And what was the difference between them and me and the other ones that had gone out there? And I just couldn't bear in my heart to see so many gifted, conscious, activated souls not get out there with their wisdom. And I started to really fine tune and detect what were the differences beyond just mere strategy. Of course you need strategy. That really helped change makers get out there, because everyone experiences fear. Everyone experiences doubt. So what made it so that we got past the doubt and fears, and also what made it so that we didn't just give other good concepts to people, but actually created programs that left deep, lasting impact and change in people. And this is what I'm super excited to bring to you. I'm going to talk about some strategy too, of course, that's key. But I want to really bring you the deeper soul-centered principles that are going to really help you get out there in a powerful way, but in a way that feels good, that flows, that is aligned, and leaves like lasting change in those that you're here to touch. I love you. You got this. You can do this. I'll see you in the live masterclass that's coming super soon. Until then, make sure to also join us in our private and free, amazing Facebook community, which is called Spirit Led and Rising, where the conversation that is this deep, this joyful, this loving, and heart-based continues. And so just look up Spirit Led and Rising group on Facebook, or you can just click on the link below. And make sure to join us there, and you're going to find an amazing tribe of just amazing, conscious, activated entrepreneurs, teachers, coaches, and healers just like you on this mission to really be the ones that show the world how beautiful we are, how much power we hold, and how delicious life can be. I love you. See you there.